Okay. All right, good morning. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Our first item of business is to review and approval of the main meeting minutes that were a part of the packet that got sent out ahead of time. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, could I get a motion for approval? And we'll call over in a second. Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
For Sarah, we'll make sure she has who actually approved it by a second.
Okay.
So who actually approved that?
I think Tom moved it and Scott was the official second.
Okay.
What I had. No offense, Whitney.
None taken.
All right. All those in favor, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Carried. All right, next we have the update to committee highlights. Dave, I'll go to you.
Yes, so here's the community highlights that I came up with, and so it's broken down into unique to this year and ongoing committee activities. And that's kind of how we've done it. The committee has done it for quite some time now, is break it out between the two. And so first off, the two new members were John and Hannah and Winnie Schreiner for this year. And then we also enhance our monthly financial reports, including the general fund unspent balance report. Mind you, we just recently did that, but that's something that we've added. The March 25th meeting was canceled due to COVID, and April's agenda was modified to include both months' topics as much as possible. Additionally, we did our meetings in April, May, and June via live stream, so and via Zoom. So. And these are also recorded on YouTube. So, semi-annual in-depth discussion of MIP happened with the financial reports, including employee participation. We did that, and then our student activity fund semi-annual agreed upon procedures audits. The spring one was canceled, but the fall one was planned. And Chris Coach will be assume our main lead for the district audit, replacing Heidi, who's transitioned into a new role with RSM. And Heidi will still be assisting with our current this year's audit as well. And we also elected a new community chairperson, Maureen, as being a community chairperson for next year, and Scott Ensdorf is going to be our chairperson pro tem for next year. And sadly, both Gary Becker and Tom Hoffman are going to retire from the committee. Now, I believe I have this right. 6 years for Gary and 12 years for Tom, correct?
That's right for me.
Yeah.
That sounds right, Dave. And as I mentioned to you in the email, if we need a reference or resource, I'm always happy to come back and sit in a meeting or give you some background of the last 12 years. So feel free to reach out if you need to.
Okay.
Yeah. And do it for me. If I can need help, I'll be ready to call. Yes.
Those are the unique ones that I came up with. I reviewed every packet we had this year, all my notes, and reviewed the minutes. These are the ones I came up with highlights. Does anybody else have anything do you think that we need to add to that part of it? Not the ongoing, but at least that part right now?
Dave, and these will be the ones that we present to the board, correct?
Yes, we will, and I believe, and I can share with my screen. Let me pull up the audit, the PowerPoint from last year real quick, so you can see that, because it may have been more than just the regular highlights. It may have been some ongoing, but let me double check that here real quick. So I'm gonna pull that up, and I'll share it here in a second.
While David's doing that, does everyone have the packet where they can see it, or should we be sharing the packet as well while we're going through it?
I have it up separately.
I do not, so if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it.
I will show that after I show this real quick. Okay. So, hold on here. I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So if we look at the items here, we had 2 new members, modified charter. These are all things that we did this year. Conference, yep, that was all. Yep, these were all the ongoing. I mean, all the current years, nothing from ongoing. So, and I think we will want to do a recommendation again this year with our recommendations, page. I think we will want to do one of that, and then we can just kind of throw in our highlights as well. But I didn't fill this one out yet for this year until after this meeting, because I want to know if we wanted to add any other highlights, and then I would create this and send that out to all the members. But we do have to decide who is going to be there on July 13th to present. So.
And we got that for our agenda item later, correct?
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yes. So now I'm going to show the agenda here. All right. So we are here, community highlights. So does anybody have anything they think that we need to add for our highlights for this year?
So I just have a couple of things. I think wasn't there another report besides the general fund unspent balance report to be added this year? Oh.
I believe we added those other financial reports last year.
Oh, maybe at the end of the prior year? Okay.
Yes. Isn't that?
So then I sorry. I just have a couple of...
I just going to ask Sarah. Sarah, that was correct, wasn't it?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the only other thing I have are just like a couple of small things, like I think MIP's acronym needs to be updated, and I think you missed an R in Chris's name.
Oh, I did.
We have a good editor in our committee. That's a valuable resource.
Kiss? Yeah.
Dave, was the MIP only semi, or was it quarterly? I can't remember.
MIP was semi.
Okay.
Dave, this has nothing to do with the recommendations, which looks fine to me, but going back to Tom's offer, which I presume is taped, it would be nice if I anticipate asking him to sit in on the committee meeting next year when we do the MIP, because Tom's background is in insurance. Correct, Tom?
Yeah, yes, Maria, I'd be happy to do so. So
I think that would be that, because when we look at where we are, and I don't mean I always appreciated his input, especially since I consider it one of the important agenda items for review.
Yep. And I'd be happy to do so.
That's a heads up, Tom.
Very good.
All right. Any other specific highlights for this fiscal year that we need to include? So, Dave, I think you've got your clearance to start finalizing things.
Okay.
Do you want to review the ongoing stuff as well, or is that you feel like that's pretty good carryover that we don't need to spend any time there?
I think everybody can take a look at it. I think it's pretty standard that we've done year to year. And it's just talking about our agreed upon procedures that we do, our annual orientation meeting, that we review our property casualty insurance. We talk about financial internal controls and internal auditors. We review the external audit report with pertaining to student activity funds in middle school and high school at Kingston Stadium. We talk about difficulties with our auditors regarding doing the audit if we have any, and our self-evaluation. And so our I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Dave, just historically speaking, I think several years ago is when we had a meeting and something new and unique came up, we did put that into, I think Steve kept a kind of a singular document where we would just add it to that point, and then we just build that list as we went through the year. So just a thought, just a thought.
Yeah, we actually had it on a few of our agendas this past year, and maybe we just want to keep it on our agenda every month in the other items of importance, and then we just have it available at our meeting. We just add to it as we go. So
That's my idea.
I'm sorry to backtrack. I did come up with one possible thing. I'm not sure it belongs in that upper section of unique, but it seems like we had a lot of discussion around the IT risk presentation. Is that something you want to highlight, that we're trying to migrate that to a higher level than what we've been at, or do we need to kind of wait a year and actually have that change occur?
When Sarah and I was looking through stuff, we did even see in our self-evaluation that we talked about that we want. And I actually have notes that says next year we want to really look at what are the things that we are doing to evaluate if we had any attempts, what we're doing to prevent that, and what testing we're doing, and kind of look at it that way. But we talked about doing that for the next year, but it wasn't really necessarily at our meeting, except for we had brief discussions on the on our evaluation. But so I thought it probably felt more that we would do that as a highlight next year, not necessarily this year, because we really didn't have those discussions at that time. That's what our main focus would be for next year.
Yep. Well, good. You got one on the board already.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Dave?
I don't have anything on this, so if we're good on this, we can move on, I guess. So,
hearing nothing from the crowd, let's go ahead and move ahead. So next is the written report. And Dave, it looks like you got me to cover this, but is it really much different what we just looked at, or what do you?
You can kind of see what we ended up doing. Change it from last year. A lot of this it's a little bit shorter. We did take some things out here. It's a little bit shorter. Previously there was a lot more about background, but we just basically said that a committee was created in 1997. Its annual report is given to the board, and by addressing actions taken, fulfilling the committee's responsibilities. The role of the committee talks about the role here. Our membership, kind of requirements of our membership, and one change that we did make here is one member of the board can serve as a liaison capacity. We're not going to necessarily say it's a requirement, but they can serve as a liaison capacity. And let me see here.
Dave?
Yeah.
Just one other point, and I think it's been made in the past, but there are not a lot of other districts in the state that have an audit committee. I think in the past there's only been a couple, and it's probably just a good reminder to both the school board but also the general public is that we do have this committee. Again, because we're one of the larger districts, but not even some of the other larger districts have an audit committee. So just something we might want to insert in there somewhere.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you think in introduction and background or in the role?
I would probably say introduction and background.
We just have that be an additional sentence after the committee charter.
Yeah. Again, it's just more information, transparency that we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for public consumption.
I mean, I know more and more as years have gone on, more and more have done it. So I think maybe couching it back in 1997 when this was formed, we were one of the few schools, districts, and state to start an audit committee, one of the first ones. But I know over the years, more and more schools have adopted an audit committee. But a lot of them are just reviewing things like you have members of the reviewing list of bills, reviewing some of the financial reports coming, not digging into the things that we're digging into. So we'll get a sentence of some sort in there to address that. Okay. The membership, talked about how our membership is comprised of. I did include the exhibit of listing all of our members. I thought about just writing them out, but I thought, having the terms and all of that, when they're expiring, I think it was good to have that. So I'm keeping that attachment there to list everybody. And the specific responsibilities, we did get the okay from the board president and vice president that it's not necessary for us to keep the whole charter and the charter matrix in the packet that we give to the board in this report. We're just saying reference under specific responsibilities. You see the charter and charter matrix is at this link, and we'll actually have that on our website. It's actually not there right now, but we will get that there before the board meeting. So we'll have our charter and charter matrix out there. We'll make sure that's always a part of the audit committee piece. And the detailed minutes, we have this, and is that found at this link? So I think that's going to save some board members a lot of time, because I'm not sure how often they actually look at that whole document. And I think they really want to, they can go out and click on a link and get to it if they really wanted to. So I think that's going to shorten this really up quite a bit. Instead of the long document, now it's only a few pages,
Yeah, I like it.
I like that. Less is always better in many ways.
That's great.
And to clarify for everyone, the charter, if it's available on the website, that is also available to the public, right?
Yes, absolutely. All right, we'll revise that and get a sentence. Actually, we'll probably shoot that off to Gary and have him review that. If Gary's okay with it, that's how we'll move forward with what we put in there. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Even though Gary was ready to do a swan song, I say we get every piece of work we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be my swan song. Maybe I can attend the meeting and go out in style.
I would like that. It'd be great.
All right, anything else on the reporting to the board? All right, if not, thanks, Dave. Good work on that. I really like that edited version. I think it really hits the main points, and I'm sure the school board members will appreciate a little less reading time on their end as well.
Yeah, okay.
So next we have the selection of at least two members, and Dave, maybe you can give them an update on Wendy's situation and how we might deal with that today. I guess as I thought about since our call earlier, I think we really ought to for sure select two people, and then whoever comes in third in this selection process would be the backup person if Wendy ends up having to not be able to continue. Would be my thought.
So here's the situation. Wendy has gotten a new job. She's now going to be working for as a revenue auditor with the state of Iowa. And so I don't know how often she's going to be traveling, but I could imagine it being a revenue auditor, there might be a fair amount of that happening. And so she's going to check with her supervisor and see if she would love to keep on the committee, but she's going to check with the supervisor and see if that's going to be allowable for her to do this. And so, and I haven't heard back from her yet because I knew she was going to meet with him fairly soon. I think she starts actually, I want to say maybe next Monday. But so she was going to check and let us know. So it'd be good for us to at least have a third if that is a possibility if she cannot move forward. And so because of us being virtually, we had to kind of figure out how we're going to do a vote. Typically it was ballots that with nobody's name on it and just kind of listing the names down, and that's what we used. We tallied. Since we're not all together, we had to figure out another process to be able to do this. And so graciously, Sarah has said that she'd be willing to take everybody's votes, okay? And how we can do that is one of two ways, depending on what's going to be easiest for you. And we're going to, because we want this to be not a public vote necessarily what everybody's, we want this to be as, private vote, I guess. Sarah is offering her personal email that you can actually email her. And her email address is jsrjbrown@mchsi.com. That's jsrjbrown@mchsi.com. You can, but if you can't handle the email to her, you can actually text her. Both of them are going to come to her phone. Is 319-364-3860. And so you can either text her or email her. And what we would like you to do is we have 5 candidates. Okay. She has a tally sheet that she has all prepared. If you want to rank these in your mind, the candidates in rank order, and she will actually tally it all up. And so you can rank all 5 of them, and she'll tally them all up. And so the highest ranked person, you're going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the lowest number is going to be the one. The top 3 lowest numbers, in order, those will be the top 3 candidates as the committee. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
So I'm going to give you guys some time. You received another one I sent out earlier today. And the 3, I guess I can read it off. And do we want to share the names at this point in time? I guess we can share the names of the candidates. Janet Henry. She has applied. She's a controller with Cedar Rapids, I believe, Foundation. No,
CRST.
CRST. Yeah, there it is. And then we have Kelly Finn, owner of Finn Prep. Paula Lange. She's a controller of Greater Cedar Rapids Community Foundation. And Jason Fisher, formerly controller of Panera Bread of Iowa. And last but not least is Chad Myers with Transamerica, VP of Internal Audit. We got a lot of great candidates here. So you guys got your work cut out for you to select.
And Julie, did you get any sort of clarity on whether Tom and I should or could vote?
I could not find anything, but I agree. I think you guys are concurrent members, and I think you guys should vote.
Okay. Yeah, Maureen, are you okay with that as the incoming chair?
I think so. Well, yeah, because because again, to get every piece of work we can out of you, that's fine. We will do the voting after we get off the meeting, correct? Is that my understanding?
No, you can do the vote now, because we'll actually take a motion to approve who we want to do.
Okay.
To approve the first two initially, because we don't know if we need a third at this point in time.
And I guess it's, at this point, if you have questions about any candidates, you can certainly ask them, but yes, otherwise, please go ahead and submit your votes either by email or text. And we'll give everybody a few minutes to get that done.
Dave, can you give out Sarah's number one more time?
319-364-3860.
Thank you. Maybe Sarah, can you maybe confirm when you've heard from everybody so they know that our stuff got through?
Yeah, I sure will. And I just am seeing phone numbers, so I can let you know phone numbers, that last four digits of the phone number that I've received.
Okay.
Dave, have you seen like the resumes or the applications for all of these filed, or are we just kind of going off what we just talked about?
No, you actually have in your board packet, and I sent you the email of an added one from Chad. It was late that we received later. So here's, so if you have the packet, so here's Janet Henry. I can kind of have them up. You want me to email you a separate email with just that?
I've got the packet up, Dave, so if you want to, what page are you on?
I'm on page 8. That's when they start. That's all. That's what we have here is what they submitted in their online.
I just didn't see it in here.
So.
And Scott, did you get the email this morning? Was it this morning, Dave, when Chad came over?
Yep, I got it.
Yeah.
I want to raise a question here, though. All right, if you don't mind.
Sure.
One of the candidates, from what I could understand reading the resume or application, did not reside in the district. Am I correct?
That's what I saw as well, Marie.
I don't know what that. I don't know what that.
I think in our previous, look at the report that we just talked about in membership, it talks about a preference within the district. I don't think it's a requirement.
I think you're right, Gary. I think that is exact language. Okay.
I don't live in the district either.
I don't either.
Oh, well, now it comes out. No.
Now, you want a recall vote?
Not. No, technically, I spend a lot of time out of the district, but I continue to hold property there so that I can do this. But that's why I'm comfortable with that if everybody else is, and I think Gary's right with the language.
Yeah, it does say preferably in our charter, but it's not a requirement. I think that may have came about with Barb Harms served on the committee initially,
Okay.
back in the day.
Well, I think it's unique also that, there's so many employers that reside within the district. And, people want to serve the community they work in, whether they do well there or not.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, would you thank the district for being sure? I don't know. I didn't see any other place, but I saw it at least twice on Facebook looking for applicants. So that was nice coverage.
Yeah.
So Dale, I was voting also. When you talk to Wendy, is she going to work for the state auditor, or is the revenue department under another realm?
I'm not sure. She said with the state revenue auditor with the state of Iowa. So I
wonder if that's going to be a conflict of interest, given that isn't the auditor kind of one of the folks that oversee what we do as a school district?
Yeah,
But if the revenue auditor, is she going to be a revenue auditor for like a different, like it's going to be, not
Yes.
education, but so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they have the rules at the state level. I mean, if she's in the Department of Revenue versus the auditor's office, she's probably fine. But if if it's under the auditor's office, it could be a problem. But she's asking the right people.
Yeah.
But I did not know that was where she was going, and it kind of piqued my ears a little bit when I heard that.
Yeah.
Wondered if that wasn't going to be a problem.
this is a really good way to come up with voting, because I was wondering how you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I was scratching my head a little bit thinking, what are we going to do? But
Can people maybe just send a chat comment when they're done, and when they submit it to Sarah, so we can maybe track that way?
Oh, I see that. Gary, I couldn't find exactly where you're talking about, and I'm scared to screw up the screen. I voted by text.
All right. I think we're the last one you're waiting for, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. Never mind my dogs.
Sarah, just let us know when you're ready to tally.
Okay, so the ones that I have received,
Should have 7.
I've got Scott and Whitney, and then I've got Tom, and then I've got phone numbers ending in 6320, 8260, and 5927.
6320 is me.
I'm 5927.
And 8260.
I don't recognize my phone number there, Wendy. Excuse me, Sarah.
I'm sorry, I missed. Who was 5927?
That's me, Drew.
Okay.
so you only have 6 right now, Sarah?
So I've got, Scott, Whitney, Gary, Drew, Tom, and then the 8267, somebody told me, but I didn't catch it. Oh, here comes another.
John Henry, were you 8267?
I'm 8260. Sarah, did you get that?
I did. So it looks like the only one that I'm missing is Maureen's. Have you
Sorry,
said?
let me confirm your number with, hate to do this over the internet. 319-362-3860.
No,
64.
it's 364.
Oh, there we go. Well,
362 knows how you're voting now.
I need to confirm this. Now I'm so rattled. 319-362-3864, right?
No. 319
Got it.
364
Yeah.
3860.
Okay. Sorry. I want to make sure I got this right. Nothing like having to text when I'm not good at it here. On the thing, I would find a new chairman if I were you. Okay. Sarah, don't tell anybody how I spelled the names, okay? I think you can figure it out, though, if my texting's wrong.
So Sarah, you ready? Go ahead and let us know the results.
Gary, do you just want her to read off the top two initially?
I think that'd be fine.
Okay, so the top two are Chad Myers and Janet Henry.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, everybody, for voting.
You're welcome.
So at this point, without knowing Wendy's status, I think what we'd like to do is appoint those two new members to fill our vacancies. And could I have a motion to approve Chad and Janet as our two new members for the upcoming year?
So moved.
Thank you. And Tom, is that you the second?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, yes.
So we've got to the second. Is there any other discussion before we take the vote? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Carried. And so then, Marie and Dave, I think I'll leave it to you guys once you get any confirmation from Wendy, one or the other, as to how you want to, notify the committee. And I imagine it'll be if we have to replace Wendy, it'll be some sort of motion at the beginning of the next cycle that you'll just add them at that time. Does that make sense?
In the fall, you mean, right?
Yeah.
We won't have a meeting prior to the July meeting of the board, of the school board,
Correct.
right? Okay, fine.
Okay. Thanks again, everybody. All right, let's move on. We got the other items of importance. The first one is a revenue report. Dave, I didn't see anything come out. Is that something that you were able to get done, or should we skip over that?
Yeah, we're not going to have the local revenue report or the monthly financial summaries. We just got things closed out, but we didn't have time to get all of that stuff pulled together.
Okay.
So in lieu of, we do have a different report I'd like to share that I sent out to the meeting about the CARES. I was thinking maybe the committee might kind of be curious, kind of how we're thinking that we're going to be using our CARES funds and to deal with COVID, and also we're going to be tapping into FEMA. So if everybody wants to pull up, which I have it here, it's our pandemic budget that we actually, this is a work in progress. We're still kind of gathering some stuff, but as of right now, for a lot of the expenses that we have here are expenses that, unless it's noted, we have a few things that are noted down here that are FY21, but everything else that's not noted FY21 are expenses that we have already incurred to date. Okay.
Can you enlarge that just a bit, Dave?
What's that?
Can you enlarge your screen a bit?
Yeah. Okay, here.
Should be a lower right there, I think, where your tabs are.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
So, so just let everybody know, the CARES or ESSER funds, we received for Cedar Rapids Community School District, $2,633,470. That's our allocation that we're receiving. Actually, we got that money in hand today. We already have the money. And that money came in, I want to say, the 15th of May. Is that about right, Sherry? I was thinking that's close to the 15th of May is when we actually received that money. And the expenditures what we have here, we got Collins Aerospace Daycare, we have the Five Seasons Daycare, and the Nutrition Fund. Those are our enterprise funds. This is an area that we were very concerned about whether or not that we would be able to use CARES funds to be able to offset some expenses that we had incurred there by keeping employees employed. We were hearing that we needed to keep them employed once the initial guidance came out of the CARES fund saying that we had to sign off on an assurance that says we need to keep employees to receive this CARES fund. We need to sign off an assurance that we're going to continue to pay employees to the extent possible. And so we continue to pay all our employees, even though not all of them were working. Not only in general fund, but also in these enterprise funds. And the enterprise funds concerned us because they weren't getting the revenue from the kids attending and or serving meals for the most part. So Collins Aerospace, we're thinking about right now, our best estimate is the amount that they probably would need of our CARES funds, about $385,000. And what you see in FEMA listed here is really the overtime pay that we paid as an incentive for them, the people who were working. It's kind of like a pandemic pay, but it was really we paid them additional time, half time above their normal wages to work. And so that's what this amount represents. And that's 85%. That's 75% federal, 10% state. That's $31,000. In reality, CARES Act cannot pick up the 15% remainder, but as of right now, it's listed in there. We know we're going to have to probably move that to a regular general, another expense, but it can't. But I wanted to just kind of share what we're thinking right now, how the dollars are going to be spent. But right now, we think for Collins, for example, we can get $31,000 from FEMA for that portion of it. We might be able to have other expenses like cleaning supplies. We haven't dug into that with like Collins to know how much extra money have they spent on cleaning supplies that we can run through FEMA, but we can do some of that as well through FEMA. So 5 Seasons Daycare is kind of the same mythology. We're thinking about $250,000. Our 5 Seasons Daycare is not doesn't serve as many kids as actually Collins Daycare program does. So we have less employees, that we do for the 5 Seasons. So that's why their dollar amount is a little bit lesser. Nutrition Fund, you can see that's a $1.2 million. That's a lot of money that we continue to pay all our employees, but we did not have the revenue to offset that. And we're thinking it's tuned about $1.2 million. These payroll, accounting, and custodial, these are kind of like our essential employees that we paid overtime for during this time. While everybody else was sitting at home not working, this is the amount that we were paying people on site as working, frontline workers or essential employees. That's the overtime portion that we have paid. $15,000. FEMA is eligible, about $16,000, and the rest of it will have to come out of the general fund. Mental health. We know we're going to have a lot of money to be able to support mental health of our staff and students. We're looking at tapping into a fair amount of the CARES fund to help with that initiative coming out for this fall. And that's, almost $400,000 there. I mentioned that earlier about the expedited shipping for technology for the elementary. I say that's about $130,000, and the remaining $4,000 is really for boxes that we had to buy for getting all the laptops ready for the students. So we're thinking that almost all that can be paid for by FEMA or FEMA eligible. So that's why you see a big chunk of that is FEMA. Hotspots, that one's unknown. I'm not sure if FEMA will be eligible to do that. It's a question I'm going to ask for FEMA on Friday with my meeting with them. But that's a big chunk. We have about 1,500 hotspots that we need to purchase for families that do not have access. And so for the fall, so their students can have the internet, support to be able to do online learning. And we also have spent about $140,000 roughly on cleaning supplies, instruction materials, and postage is what we have spent and coded to COVID response as of right now. So So right now, as in total, we're at 2.8 million, even before, and a large part of that is this year stuff. There's, about $800,000 here is what, lower 800,000 is of that amount is slated into the next fiscal year, but majority of that is this year. And we're trying to tap into FEMA as much as possible and shift things over there because we know we have a lot of needs. And one of the areas that's not even listed here is social emotional learning. Providing some additional supports in that. We have not addressed that in here. We did not address if we do a hybrid type of learning model, if we need to have additional staff hired to be able to manage students as they get off buses or get dropped off by parents, because we might have to do shifts of drop-offs to make these things happen. There's a lot of things that we haven't even addressed, but coming out of the chute here, there's a lot of money here that of the 2.6 million that it's already spoken for. It doesn't leave much of anything left for future expenses. I know we have lobbied the legislature for some additional funding to support. The governor does have additional funding that she can designate to schools if she so wishes. So we've lobbied for some of that to help, not knowing if we're going to get any of that or not. So does anybody have any questions on this?
Dave, I can't even ask this question. Is the school district on the same budget year as the state?
No.
Okay.
Ours, I think the state ends September 30th, I believe, and ours is June 30th.
I thought the state was on, never mind, I get the state and federal mixed up, so okay, yours is the state.
I was thinking the state has always, there are a lot of things from the state that they can't give us numbers till after September 30th.
I think the state's June 30 too.
You think so too? Okay.
Yes.
I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Right.
I know the federal is October 1st, it's the beginning of the federal budget year, but it doesn't matter. I'm just curious when you're talking about next budget year.
Yeah, I bet you it says 60-day accrual that puts it into September.
Oh, okay, that's probably why why we can't get numbers from them for certain things till after September. That makes sense. But like I said, this is just a initial snapshot. We know we're going to incur more expenses for PPE, but a good thing about PPE and cleaning materials, we'll be able to code that to FEMA and still get some additional support on that. And so we're just going to have to pick up 15% of those expenses. So that's the good news on that. We'll have a revenue source to help reimburse us on the cleaning and the PPE materials. Instructional material, I'm not sure that's going to qualify for FEMA. But, and also moving forward in this next year, we know we're going to expend money on and we're going to be spending money on instructional materials anyway. So I don't know if it's all necessary to do that differently and code that to CARES anyway in the future. So.
And Dave, I have two questions, and I know and you may not have the answer to them, and that's fine. The FEMA, when you talk about FEMA, does FEMA have new rules written for a pandemic situation, or what?
I don't know necessarily how we are qualified. I actually have not had my kickoff meeting. Like I said, my kickoff meeting with them is Friday.
And the reason I asked was when we had money, when the floods hit, we get FEMA money, but there were strings attached.
Yeah.
Right? If I remember that. So it doesn't matter, we need the money, and that's fine. I was just wondering what they attached, or if they had new rules written, which would be amazing turnaround. But,
I mean, in reality, it's going to be a little bit easier with FEMA. From what I learned so far, is that they have waived some of the requirements, where bidding requirements and multiple quotes requirements for certain things. On this one, they've waived that, so it's actually going to be a little bit easier to tap into those funds, but there are only certain things I can do. So
yeah, oh, that's fine. And then I just had another question, and related to the daycares. Can you figure out, and I know you don't know the answers, that's why I really respect what you guys are doing right now. You're just really adjusting to a fluid situation. But what would happen with the daycares again if we have another situation where the schools are shut down, they do home learning, but there isn't a shutdown in the companies as we've seen in the past? What would happen with the daycares at that point? Would we see a decline in people that use them, or what? Can you answer that question?
yeah, we have a little bit of snippet of that has been going on already, because our 5 seasons, we handled daycare. We had that open all the whole time. Our daycares were open.
5 seasons.
Obviously, there are a lot of people that did not send their kids, but there are some. You had the essential employees, nurses, doctors, and whatnot, firefighters, or police. Everybody who had to work, they couldn't get off. They had to have daycare for their kids. They sent their kids to daycare.
Okay.
And so we anticipate our daycare needs potentially might grow. For example, when we start doing virtual learning, you might have staff who send their kids to the 5-season daycare decide, I'm going to send my kids to daycare because I need to focus on my job with online learning and teaching the kids. And so we're anticipating that we might have to expand, just because the fact that if we still have to maintain the 10-to-1 ratio, we might have to add more staff to be able to accommodate that, to support our needs. Because we might find that we may need more. And when we get into the fall on that front. But Collins is another animal there. Collins daycare, I don't know how, when they're going to start allowing their employees to come back to work. A lot of them are still working from home. There was a comment I heard previously that, some businesses are waiting for, and Collins might be as kind of thinking about this as well, waiting until there's a vaccine.
That would be into next year then.
Yes. You just don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah.
And like I said, Collins did furlough some of those daycare employees because we could not continue to subsidize. You can see like $385,000 for that program right now is a big chunk of our money to help support them for that. Because all those employees are our employees. That's the reason why we're have some ownership on that, because they are our employees at this time.
Any further questions? Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, Dave, this is Tom. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to log off. I have a meeting up in Dubuque here this afternoon, so I got to hit the road. So I just wanted to congratulate you and your team on doing a great job, and thank all the other volunteers on the committee for your time, and wish you well moving forward, and possibly see you this fall in another meeting or two. So thank you for everyone's efforts, and like I said, if there's anything you ever need from me from a historical perspective, please don't hesitate to reach out. So
Thanks, Tom. Are you available for the 13th for the board meeting? Are you available for the July 13th board meeting to be part of that presentation?
Possibly. I'll have to get back to you on that, Gary, real quick. But yeah, I'm thinking I might be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll get with you. All right.
All right.
Bye now.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, so the next item is the any complaints, Dave, do you have any there?
No, we did not have any complaints. In actuality, I have supposed to have a meeting with the Global Compliance. That's the company the software that we use to gather any complaints that may be submitted. And so we had one this past year, and that was the only one we had. And I don't know, and this is an internal, probably more of an internal conversation, but I would like to have that about, our fee for that is about $5,400, and so if wonder if there's another way that we can gather comments or concerns in another way at a less costly way, amount than this program. But that's something I'm just going to investigate, But we have not had anything since last time, so.
And it seems like over the last few years has been a very limited number. So.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, the next item is comments from previous meeting. I don't think we had any. I think not having the physical form to turn in perhaps dealt with some of that, but would encourage all of you that if you do have comments, you do share them with Dave or me or Sarah to include for future discussion. I would just say in front of everybody, the Zoom thing I think is working fine. And certainly even if we start meeting in person, it's a great option to have for someone that might prefer to do it from, to not make the trip into the district building. Okay, I think that's the last item on the agenda, other than we do need to try and finalize or at least talk about who's going to present to the board. And I am willing to participate, and we'll kind of hear from Tom. If any other members that would like to give that a whirl or would like to volunteer to be part of that group, I think we've typically done 3 in the past, but I think we go as much as 4. Again, it's very light duty, truly less is more. I think it's as much about them thanking us for what we do and being volunteers. So anyone have an interest in volunteering for the 13th?
I could have.
I'm sorry, who was that? I think it's at 5:30 at night.
Yes.
And we're generally one of the first things on the agenda after the consent stuff. So I think most years I've done it, I'm out there by 6:15 at the very latest.
Gary, I will be there, but I would prefer, and I would
The one from E-Way Corp.
but I would prefer someone else from the committee take a whirl at it. It's light duty, as you said, and you're in and out, and I don't even know whether they'd be meeting at the district or doing a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, exactly right.
That one, but I didn't answer him yet.
Yeah, it's very well. It could be a Zoom meeting, and then if that's the case, it will just have to be done by a Zoom.
Okay, and you don't even have to leave your home at that point in time.
Yeah.
Keep your shorts on,
E-Way
so,
Corp.
I'll do it. I'll be there
that one
if
about
anybody else wants to.
No, I got them both. So, hey, shoot.
Justin is feeding through, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is my microphone on? Bad microphone. Goodbye.
I should be available on the 13th to be part of the crew that attends, so.
Is that okay?
Yes, thanks, Whitney.
Excellent.
Well, Chris, I see you're still here, but I don't see the agenda items for you. So did I miss something?
No.
No. Okay. I started to panic when I put back to the gallery here. So, anything else for the cause today?
Who should we send the plus minus meeting notes to? Just to Sarah, to Dave?
Dave, what's your preference?
What's that?
Is it your preference for the meeting notes to go to you or to Sarah or to both?
To Sarah.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, Whitney.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we will stand adjourned. I too will thank you all for your service, and I think we've done some good work this year, and I look forward to seeing what you guys can do in the future without me leading out.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
And
Have a
Gary,
good one.
all your support. So you will be missed.
Right, thanks everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.